In today's show, we have another of our popular Dynamite Conspiracies episodes where we discuss the sugar cover-up.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague Taya Boya. Taya, hello my friend once again. I hope you keep it safe and well. And you can do it, sir. Come on, you can do it.
What the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh? So I got a question. Well, should I say hello? No, because Tony said I should do, so I'm not going to.
Oh no, our audience are so disappointed. They love listening to you say hello to them. Come on.
I'm on strike whenever Tony says, whenever he prompts me. So that's going to be my modus operandus going forward. Actually, it's modus operandi, which is weird. Anyway, look, listen. So, question for today.
I thought you were going to ask you how many audience, any listeners in any particular place. You normally get the data for that.
This is true. Today, depending on how you look at it, it's a little boring, I'm afraid.
Oh,
because I can't now say, can I? Because I just said it's boring to live. So I can't do it. I can't use that one. I'll have to use someone else. Not boring at all. And we're going to say hello to. Where are we? Hello to. Aha. Again, it's the same. I don't know what's going on, but thank you very much, whoever's in Germany, because you really are downloading a lot of our stuff. Okay, I'm going to bring it around. One of my haunts actually. I used to live there for a while. Portsmouth. Hello, Portsmouth.
Oh, Portsmouth. Yeah. Nice place.
Nice place. Yes, indeed. I enjoyed my time there. I'm looking for the Portsmouth. Well, is it called Portsmouth? Portsmouth City Council.
Okay.
Directly opposite the train station. It was a fantastic project for me, and I really loved every single moment of it. And on Fridays, I used to. It's literally across the one road, a narrow road, from the train station.
Okay.
Literally. So I'd come out on a Friday afternoon to come back to Northampton, and I get on the train, and by the time we got to a place called Canley, I believe, which is just outside Portsmouth, I was already drunk. my weekend started really early, man.
Wow.
Never mind Waterloo. I was hammered by the time I got to Waterloo, man. I was gone.
How did you make it home? There you go.
I staggered home to my loving family, and they were like, "Hey, he's back again, smashed." And I said, "I'll see you guys in the morning."
Oh dear.
So my Fridays are fantastic. My Mondays not so much because it was a wrench leaving the family and having to go. But oh God, I love my Fridays, man. I'll tell you that for free. Anyway, question for you today.
Go on then, quickly, yes.
What is
Go on.
enteral ventilation? Now, if you know the answer, there's something the matter with you.
Enteral?
Yes, E-N-T-E-R-E-L. Enteral ventilation. What is it?
I have not a clue.
Then there's nothing the matter with you. It's good. If you don't have a clue, you're a decent human being. Because I'm going to spoil that for you and the audience. And by the time I've finished explaining it to you, and you know what it is, you will no longer be decent human beings. You'll be awful people like me. Because
I don't know if I want to hear it. I don't know if the audience want to hear it.
Well, I fell across it and it corrupted me. So I'm sorry. I'm going to have to corrupt you too.
Oh no!
An enteral ventilation is a medical procedure that delivers oxygen to the body through your rectum in the form of superoxygenated liquid. They stick superoxygenated liquid into your bum, and they push it into your colon and all that sort of thing.
What?
It's called here the distal gut, and it gives you the oxygen to live on. And it is used when, for some reason, the lungs have collapsed.
Oh.
Hmm.
So they, rather than the lungs oxygenating the blood, they pump oxygenated blood or liquid or what?
Liquid. It's super oxygenated liquid.
via the anus into the body, and that keeps you alive. Wow.
Yes. Now, if you recall, not so long ago, we were laughing, you and I, when I said, look, when it comes to me on my bum, stuff can come out, but nothing should go back in. But now that I know this, I'm afraid I'm going to have to make an exception. And that's what makes me think we're no longer decent, man. Well, all right. If you got it, you got it. But I'm not really comfortable.
Just hope that you won't be in a position that your lungs
I
give way.
pray,
That
I
doesn't
really do,
happen.
man. Good grief. Anyway, there we are. So now we know something together, don't we?
Anyway, enough of the shenanigans. Let's move on with today's topic. And it's another of our popular Dynamite Conspiracies episodes. And today we're talking about the sugar cover-up. And this is actually one of mine. But I don't know if you want to talk initially. No, you want me to talk about it. Okay, right. I'll begin. Why I've chosen this is because, I don't know, maybe a lot of people are already aware of this or have suspicions, but there is a sort of a conspiracy already about sugar. We are bombarded with adverts for food or things that look like food on the TV. And I mean, this is a message to all our viewers and listeners out there. Next time you're watching TV and adverts for food, and particularly at this time of year coming up to lead up to Christmas, there'll be more of those on TV and on social media, etc. And they're trying to sell you food. Now have a look at that. Next time you see them, is it really food that you're looking at? Is it a highly processed food, or is it natural food? And the question probably will be that it's probably a highly processed food. And the food industry, and I suppose part of it, you can bring them in, the pharmaceutical industry, are there to... I'm going to be scandalous here, but it's a conspiracy show. Is the food industry are giving us highly cheap crap disguised as food, which we as a population become addicted to, and the pharmaceutical companies then keep us propped up by dealing with the symptoms that the food industry has created. So in other words, heart disease, high blood pressure, etc., etc. So these are a lot of things that causes conspiracy, and we're wondering, well, why is this? And I don't know if you've got any questions about this, Ty, in my opening gambit.
No, I don't at this point. I will challenge you later.
Okay. Well, the reason why this is a conspiracy is there's actually a well-known guy called Ancel Keys. I think that's his name. And what he did, he actually presented something to the Sugar Research Foundation, and that paved the way. That paved the way for some dodgy things. So, for instance, in the 60s, Harvard scientists were given a, can I say the word? Yeah, bribe, equivalent to $50,000 in 2016 prices, to change some of the documents that they had presented. And those documents were to counter the evidence that sugar was the primary cause of coronary heart disease. And in other words, the payment to the Harvard scientists was so that they changed that and remove the sugar as the reason, but instead shift the focus to saturated fat and cholesterol. So the resulting 1967 review, which was published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine, minimized the link between sugar and heart health, but instead concluded that saturated fat and cholesterol was the cause. So the only way to prevent coronary heart disease was in fact to reduce saturated fat and cholesterol. And we are told this today. When you see a doctor, they say, oh, you need to lose weight, and they blame it on saturated fat and cholesterol, when in reality those are not the reason for the issues. Most of the problems that result is too much sugar. We don't need sugar in our diet at all, in fact. We don't. And sugar appears in so many areas of our food consumption. Some things we don't even imagine has got sugar in it, but it has. You may even buy meat from a supermarket and you think, you're eating meat, that's got no sugar in it. But if it's even got a tiny coating on it, that coating will have sugar in it. So they've changed your meat that you thought you may be eating with sugar to get you to keep eating sugar. Why? Because sugar is palatable to us. We love it. It's an addictive substance, strangely. So we want more of it. So it stands to reason that if the food industry make their food palatable and it tastes nice, and when it tastes nice, we actually get a dopamine hit, which is what a drug addict does. We are actually addicted to sugar. And so we want more of it. We want to get our fill once again. So we go back and buy similar sugary products in order to keep the dopamine hit going in our brains. So we become addicted to the very substance that they want us to be addicted to. And in so doing, we go back for more. We go back for more, just like a drug addict does. Same sort of effect.
I got some concerns about what you said.
Go on.
I'll send you a link. It says...
I haven't seen the link.
Sorry?
You haven't sent me it yet. I haven't got it anyway.
Oh! Yeah, there's a good reason for that.
Go on.
I sent it to myself, innit? That's not going to
Doesn't help in this discussion, no.
No. So there we go. Sorry about that. So
Right.
it says, studies show that for every 5% higher energy intake from free sugars, CHD, which is coronary heart disease,
yeah.
risk rises by about 6 to 7%, independent of obesity. So, sugar, higher intake of free sugars, not good for you.
Indeed.
Okay, so no questions there.
Okay.
So we've got some ifs, whens, and buts.
Go on.
Fructose added from sugars or... Sorry, it's jumbled up sentence. Let me unjumble it. Fructose from fruits or vegetables does not increase risk.
Indeed.
Okay, so if it's natural, I think someone once said something, and I've spoken about this on the show before. If it swims in the ocean, flies in the air, or lives on a farm, you can eat it.
Yeah, absolutely you can.
Okay, so limitations. Natural sugars in whole foods like fruits do not carry the same risk. However, extremely low sugar intake can also harm cardiovascular health, and that's the link I've sent you. So, it is a question, as usual in life, of finding a balance. You have to find the balance.
Indeed.
Swearing off sugar entirely, not a good idea. Swearing off artificial sugars, fine. By all means. And we should all, I think, try to avoid artificial sugars. I'm going to speak on that a little bit later because there's a problem with that. Or should I speak about it now?
You can do.
Think about sex for a second, right?
Okay.
There's a reason why we go out our way to get sex. Because it's fun. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes all you need in life is a little bit of peace and quiet and a flipping chocolate bar. Do you know what I mean? Okay? Or an ice cream or something. So it's like, look, keep quiet about your blooming, coronary heart disease and all this. Just leave me alone. Okay? Me and this chocolate, we got a date. The TV's on. I'm on my couch. Leave me alone. Okay? So when you do that too much, too often, when it's negatively, you put on a lot of weight, you're obese, you don't get a lot of exercise, you got a problem. But I think, okay, here's how I used to say to my older students when they were like, about to leave college and all that sort of thing, before going off to uni. I would say to them something to shock them and say, do you know what? I had 12 pints of beer, of lager. 12 pints of lager. And all the students would go, oh, you didn't. I say, yeah, all through the last 3 months. And then they
Yeah.
well, that's because that shows you it's not, one chocolate bar every so often. That's not going to do something. So it's not, let's not go
When you
crazy.
say every so often, though, this is the thing. You don't quantify it.
Well, I can't because I'm not a doctor. I don't know
No,
what it is. You
but
can look it
yeah.
up and
The
they'll
thing
probably tell you.
The thing is, our bodies don't need sugar. Did you know that?
Well, the link says we do.
No, we don't.
The link I sent you
No,
says we do
we
need
don't
sugar.
need sugar. No, we don't. That's old information. There used to be a directive that the only organ in the body needed carbohydrates, and that was the brain. That has now, with subsequent information, has changed. It's no longer the case.
Can you send me the link?
I'll have to dig it out. I haven't got that on hand. The reason why I know this is because I'm actually a qualified weight loss mentor, and I've studied.
Okay, but you don't have the link.
No, I don't have the link, but I can find it. I'll send it on. No worries. The latest research says that we don't need sugar at all, because it was only the brain that was thought to need it. But it's now subsequently been discovered that the brain can supply its own glucose needs by metabolizing in some way the ketones, which is from fat energy use. Because what happens is your body can create energy easily with carbohydrates, which is sugar essentially, and it's very easily if you ingest it, it's very easily taken into your body. It goes into your muscles, it goes in your liver, and you get this glucose equivalent in your body. And it's very good actually, because it gives you some quick responses, because your muscles, if they need to react quickly in a situation, they need energy. And if it's already in this glucose type, it's a glycogen type substance, very sticky in the muscles, it can break it down very quickly and use it immediately. So you've got that in your muscles, in your liver, and it helps you run fast, for instance. Now, when you don't have sugar in your diet, you're only having fat, which is predominantly how we used to eat for many thousands of years, then your body doesn't use glycogen. The store is depleted, and it switches to ketones, which is breaking down fat. So your fat store and your fat that's in the food that you eat is broken down into ketones, which then go in your bloodstream. But it's harder to break down for quick release energy. So your body doesn't like doing it, but it does it because it can. Because babies are born in this state anyway. So they're born in this ketogenic state, which is ketosis state. And when we then introduce milk, mother's milk, that's got carbohydrates in, and so it flips it and says, okay, I don't need to break down the ketones anymore. I can use the carbohydrate as energy instead. So it switches. And for children, for young children, there's a benefit for that. It's a quick way of giving energy quickly, because fat is harder and more difficult to break down. But
apparently, we were talking past each other.
Go on.
apparently your position isn't actually wrong. But you didn't say it in a way that would not trigger my logic circuits to revolt.
Oh, okay.
So you should have said dietary sugar intake isn't necessary.
Yes.
I think that's what you were trying to get at, isn't
Yeah,
it?
basically, it's not
Dietary
necessary.
sugar intake
Is not
is not
necessary.
necessary.
It's
because
fine. Your body can use it, and absolutely. And if you're getting carbohydrates from fruit, yeah, which is natural because it's got fructose. The problem being, even though it is natural, if you are obese, personally, I would advise you to steer clear of fruit and only eat it irregularly. Instead, have more green vegetables. Eat as much as you like of green veg. Seriously, as much as you like.
No,
There's
I'm
no
laughing
limit.
because, you see, I'm laughing because you remind me of my uncle. I think I mentioned him before. Do you remember my uncle? Poor guy.
Poor
He
guy,
died.
go on.
He
Go on.
died. No, he died of wine, women, fun, and song. Do you
Good
remember I
life.
mentioned him?
Yeah,
Yeah? You remember?
yeah.
Yeah, should I share it
Vaguely.
with the audience?
Go on. Yeah,
he
do it.
couldn't get any of those things, so he offed himself.
Oh, no. No.
You talk about eating greens all your life.
No, he's not.
You can eat greens. Just eat greens.
No,
just
that's not
just
what
stay
I'm
away from
saying.
cake. Just stay away from biscuits. Just stay away from ice cream. Don't drink alcohol. Don't drive fast. Just stay at home. Then at the end of the day, it's like, what the hell am I living for exactly? Seriously, what's the freaking?
Do you know
what's the
what you
point?
should do? Have you heard of the 11-day rule?
No, I haven't.
Right, 11-day rule is basically 10 days in a row you eat sensibly. So you can eat meat. Don't worry about portion size. Eat as much meat as you want. Eat as much veg as you want. Absolutely fine. But on the 11th day, go for it. You can have whatever you want. Food, chocolate, ice cream, beer, boom, 11th day. And then you do another 10 days of sensible eating. So you're not depriving yourself of...
I do that, but I didn't know. I'm not kidding. I actually do that, but it's a week. I didn't know it was
7 days is too short a time frame.
Maybe
7 days is
then.
too short. A lot of people do that actually, but they do it every weekend.
Yeah.
And then they do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
No,
and then
no.
they start again.
No, mine's a Saturday.
Okay. But even that is a bit... Okay, it's not that bad. But if you want to push it out just a little bit longer, 11. But the only downside with the 11 days is that it doesn't coincide with weeks. So it makes it a little difficult to plan. So
No,
people
it's
brought
okay.
it
I've got
forward.
an app for that. Can
But
do that easily.
every 11 days, then you can have what you want. If you want pizza, have pizza. If you want ice cream, chocolate, on that 11th day, you can go for it. It doesn't matter. As long as you then go back to 10 days of good eating, and it doesn't mean you restricting what you eat. You just restrict certain foods from your plate, basically. So eat what you want, but from the meat category, fish category. Don't have batter. Veg, you can have veg coming out your ears. It doesn't matter. As much veg as you like. You can even have potatoes, as long as they're not fried. So roast potatoes, boiled potatoes, that's fine. But do that within the 10-day window. And then the 11th day, if you want to treat yourself, then do so. And you can without any problem. And you won't. If you do that, your body will thank you. You'll feel better because you're removing a lot of the unnecessary carbs from your diet. You're still being satiated because you're eating. You're not restricting portion size. You're eating. If you're hungry, guess what? Eat. But you're not eating the pretend food, and I call it that. Things that's got sugar, things that's in a packet, crisps, chocolate on those days. No. Do it, save it for the 11th day.
No
That way
problem.
Sorry?
No problem. I've just set it up on my app,
Okay.
and today is actually I'm going to set up another thing on our app. Today is November. Oh, it's December the 1st, isn't it? We're recording. Which will go out on a different day, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it will go out on a different
Well, today is the 1st of December. So on my app, I'm going to say test Test. What do you want me to test? My weight, my what? What am I going to test?
You can test your weight, yeah.
Or just the way I feel?
You can put that down as well.
Okay,
Certainly.
so
Say
sugar,
how you feel.
Sugar.
Remove sugar
fast.
from your diet.
Sugar fast, as per Tony,
Okay.
who is probably having a giant laugh. He's literally laughing, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Laughing.
I'm laughing. You think I'm laughing, but I'm not.
And,
no, look.
January is 1, February is 2, 1st of March is a Sunday. Okay. So I've reminded myself, it's gone into my app, and I'll remind myself 7 days before so we know it's coming. And there we bada boom, bada bing. So I am going to stick to it.
Can't do it now. It's Christmas coming up. You can't do it.
I've got a holiday coming up.
You are actually.
Yeah, I've got a holiday coming up. I'm not going to go
you can't
off.
Do it it's going to be tough to do on a holiday. I get that. But as long as you do it outside of the holiday, you can.
No, I'm back.
Honestly.
When I come back, we'll readjust the timetable starts. I'm not going to start now because it's ridiculous. Okay. But when I get back, I'll mention it again. So that'll be the first thing I'm going to say, okay, I'm starting my 3-month thing. 11 days, and we'll look.
See how you are.
And I will genuinely do it.
Measure your weight, measure how you feel. It actually reduces cloudiness in your thinking, strangely enough. You feel more alert, you sleep better, you have more energy. It's great because you're not restricting food. You're just eating the right food.
And I really will stick to it. That's a promise.
Okay,
I'll stick to it. And we'll see. So,
that'd be great. Even though we've digressed slightly, it's still linked. But let's go back to what we're talking about here. Why the sugar cover-up? Because the thing that the Harvard scientists did, it was called Project 226, to shift the blame for heart disease from sugar to saturated fat. And this then started the low-fat craze, where manufacturers removed fat from food but replaced it with massive amounts of sugar to make it taste good. Because when you take fat out of food, it tastes bland. It's no good. It tastes horrible. So in order to make it palatable, they threw in sugar. And refined sugar is very cheap. In fact, they even developed better sugars, which were worse for us, but which is even cheaper than refined sugar. And there's a particular one called what's it called again? I've got to find it in my notes. I'm sure I put it in my notes about the fructose. And there's 2 types of fructose. There's the normal one, and then there's the
lactulose? No, lactulose.
No.
I know the one you're talking about, actually. Fructose and something
Luckily,
else.
we've actually, European Union have banned it. But in America, American cousins, they get it in all their food.
Yeah. Apparently, American food is really not that good for you.
Oh, dear me. See, this low-fat food has got like a health halo. We think, it's low-fat. It's got to be healthy. That's worse. It's better to eat something full-fat than something that says low-fat. Because it's replacing the fat with sugar. And it isn't even natural sugar. It's refined sugar or sugar substitutes, which are worse. And there's the one that the European Union has banned, and I'm trying to find it now in front of me, and I'm still struggling to find it. The name of it escapes me, and it's, like I said, we don't have it in the UK, and we certainly don't have it in Europe. Here we go, got it. High fructose corn syrup.
Oh, I've never even heard of it.
High fructose corn syrup. Now, thankfully, we don't allow it in the UK, even though we've left the EU. We're aligned still with their food rules, which makes sense. But normal fructose in whole fruits and vegetables is natural, but high fructose corn syrup is engineered sweetener, but it's made from cornstarch. But it's engineered. It's really, really bad. Really bad. It's 3 or 4 times sweeter than regular sugar, but it's everywhere. It's easy to make because it's manufactured. It's not having to pick it off a plant. You can make it in a lab, and that's what they do. They add it to all sorts of food, and in so doing, your body does not know how to digest it properly. And it causes clog-ups in your body. Body doesn't know how to digest it, and so it goes, right, I can't do anything with this. Let me park it for now. And it puts it in a fat store. And there you got your problem. You've started storing fat, which actually contains this gunk. It's not even a true fat store. It's fat with these added ingredients, which your body can't digest anyway. And your fat store's there ready for your body to use in times of starvation. Although in the Western world, we don't have starvation, so it never goes back to it. But you are now keeping bad products on your body because they're in the fat store around your organs. It's got visceral fat, and that fat can get infected, by the way. And when it has all these other ingredients in, you are now layering your organs with visceral fat. And that fat, if you've eaten poorly for a number of years, it will contain a lot of these additives that your body doesn't even know how to break down or struggles to break down. And so you're actually having them around your organs. So there is reason to believe that these, over a long period of time, can cause us long-term health issues. Because on a separate topic, there are a whole host of forever chemicals that you may not be aware of. And some have come from food. Some have also come from the material that we buy. And it gets into our bodies and we never can get rid of it. I mean, a typical one, a forever chemical, I don't know if you're aware of this, comes from waterproof clothing. So if your shoes, your coats, we got many other things, boots, they've got a waterproof coating. That waterproof coating is a chemical that seeps into our body. And you can actually have a test done, a blood test, which checks for these forever chemicals. And there's supposed to be rules as to how much you're supposed to have in your body. But unfortunately, because they're everywhere, including in the food we eat, these forever chemicals go up and up percentage-wise in our body. And it can't do us any good. They just can't. But the businesses, the companies making money are so big now, we can't rein in, we can't stop it. It's there, it's everywhere. It's like, well, it's like the stop oil thing. The people had good intentions, but oil is everywhere. We're never going to stop it because our whole way of life, it revolves around oil. Oil is used in so many manufacturing products that we can't get rid of it either. So unless we want to live back in the 15th century, we really want to go back to farming the land and literally growing food and animals. If we want to live in the world we're living in now, we have to put up, unfortunately, with all this stuff. We can help ourselves a little bit by ensuring that the sugar in our food is limited. That will certainly help us. Not a lot you can do about these forever chemicals, though, because they don't just come from food. They can come from other places. So, yeah, not ideal. What have we done to our planet?
I was trying to think outside the box and see if I could find data to contradict. And if this is the right word, I'm not sure it is, confabulate your position. So I asked AI, I said, what are the longest living human populations that eat a lot of sugar? I've asked two AIs. And both of them, the first one says right. So here's what I found. The answer is none of them.
Yeah, none.
And then the other AI said no population with the longest life expectancy, e.g. blue zones like Okinawa or Sardinia, is known for high sugar consumption. These groups emphasize low added sugar intake, under 28 grams daily. And the first AI I mentioned said it's under 28 grams, about 7 teaspoons whilst the average American consumes about 17 teaspoons daily.
Ow.
So, yikes. Okay. So, all right. So I buy that. By the way, there is one thing. It does say that it's particularly bad when it is consumed in liquid form. That actually there's a lower incidence of heart failure of heart disease when consumed in solid forms. So it's really the beverages, the what the Americans call soda. I think here we call them soft drinks.
Yeah.
I know we call them soft drinks here. So
I think that's because a lot of the soft drinks used to contain sugar, and the full fat versions of them still had sugar in quotes, full fat, because they had sugar. Those have been replaced by a sugar substitute, because even though sugar is cheap, the alternatives are manufactured, they're even cheaper. So aspartame, I can never say this word, aspartame or aspartame?
Aspartame. Aspartame.
Yeah. That is, well, that's almost cancerous.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's an artificial sweetener used in most drinks.
Yeah, all the diet stuff. Isn't that the
diet? Yeah.
So have I been chugging blooming aspartame?
Yeah. That is one of the worst products that you can consume.
Well, never mind.
It's better to have a full fat version of a soda equivalent.
Look, my friend, make up your mind, okay?
If you're going to pick, okay, if you're hell bent on having a soda, okay, not that I would say choose either of them, but the lesser of the two evils. Let's say you had a full fat version and a diet version of the same drink. Always take the full fat version, because the diet version will have an artificial sweetener, which long term is worse for the body. I'm not saying they're both good, because if you had to avoid it, pick something else, right? I'm talking they are the bottom of the barrel, but if you had to pick one, go for the full fat one, the one with, that doesn't say low fat or low sugar, because that low sugar would mean it has been replaced with something artificial to mimic the sweetness that you're craving, and that will be some artificial product, which is worse for us. It's manufactured, it's engineered, but our body doesn't know how to break it down, and that causes longer term issues. So going back to this sugar cover up, this is a cover up because this is my opinion anyway, because it doesn't look like the industry want to do anything to help the situation. They're only in it for profits. And if they can sell us stuff that looks like food, tastes like food, but is manufactured, they don't care. And if we're addicted to it, all the better, as far as they're concerned, because we'll keep going back for more. And they will add chemicals to it to make it palatable. And we, as, in quotes, drug addicts almost, are using the food as a vice, because we want the dopamine hit that this product produces. So we keep going back and going back. Long term, this consumption will result in ill health. We'll get high blood pressure. We'll get diabetes. And type 2 diabetes is rocketing across the Western world. Rocketing because of the poor diet that most of the Western world is having. So it's rocketing. And what happens? These ill people, which all these people are, have to go to the pharmaceutical industry in order to get medicine to manage the symptoms. Rather than fix you, the pharmaceutical companies are quite embracing what the food industry is doing, because it's now providing the pharmaceutical industry with a enormous group of people that need managing their symptoms. And so they've got customers for life who need blood pressure tablets, who need insulin equivalent injections. So it looks as if the two industries are helping one another. The food industry is making us sick, and a pharmaceutical industry is not curing us of that sickness. It's just managing the symptoms created by the food that we consume. So that's where it comes in.
You do have to admire the sheer ruthless logic of it all. It says, as a fan of Vulcan thinking, it's really, really good. Well, I admire. I mean, I don't like it, but I admire it. It's ruthlessly efficient. You keep them alive as long as possible, and we'll keep milking.
Yeah,
Schmucks. Bunch of idiots.
we are. We have to laugh at it, but it's so clever.
Careless of humanity. It's like, I don't care, man. You know, as long as I get paid. Yeah, I believe I sent you a link, and I think you should go back and possibly reword your aspersion.
What is possibly aspartame sweetener, possibly cancer causing.
Yes, and it says here that I should tell you, if that's what you're going to say, then it's in the same category as aloe vera extract, pickled vegetables, and working night shifts. So it's like, yeah, don't say it. You've got to be 70 kilograms in weight and consuming 14 cans of diet soft drinks every single day. It doesn't say for how long. I think it's in the article, for it to pose some sort of risk to you that is actually measurable. So no.
So you don't think it's a problem?
Well, I'm hoping not, but I've certainly got the UN news backing me up, because what they're saying is that there are some substances that is based on what they call limited evidence.
Yes.
So they can't say it's that.
No, they can never say that with any of it.
They can't say it's not. Well, some things like I don't know, standing in front of a speeding train. That's they can't say, yeah, that's going to be upsetting to your. Yeah, exactly.
Obvious that is.
Physiology, but there's a reason why they're putting it like this. It's because you can't definitively prove that it's that one single cause. It's indicated. You know this thing when they say like I think that's what the terminology I'm used to from when I was growing up. They say it's indicated as being a risk, and then that's it. It's indicated. So I think basically, ladies and gentlemen, it comes down to this: do your research, roll the dice, and go out the way that you want to go out, because something's going to take you. So, you know, I don't know. Ask people like what's his name, like that famous actor. He's almost 100 years old now. Very
100?
famous. The cowboy chap, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, he's not 100 yet, though, is he?
No, not yet. But he's getting there.
Wow.
And he's still sort of, walking back and forth and chugging around. And Star Trek, what's his name? Bill Shatner.
Oh, yeah, he's in his 90s. Yeah.
He's in his 90s, and he's actually supremely healthy looking.
Yeah,
he's, quite chubby. And
he went up in the Amazon's rocket, didn't he?
He did.
Up to the moon, up to the orbit.
Well, supposedly. I mean, there are questions about it. Is that the one? No, it was only women that went up in one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Jeff Bezos' future wife. Went
also,
up in
some
one
questions
of those.
about that, because somebody opened the door and then shut it again when it landed. So we don't know.
Oh,
anyway, that's far from this sugar thing,
yeah.
Unless you can prove that they fire them up using sugar-based substances, which I doubt very much. The thing I want to talk about, because I did say we'll circle back to it. Oh, once I got the figures on the screen, United States, it consumes average sugar consuming populations are United States 126 grams daily, Germany 109 grams, and the Netherlands 102 grams daily. And then the AI said these are emphatically not known for exceptional longevity. So this particular AI has got a bit of a personality, man. You don't want to be like that. So What I was thinking about, how do you look? The conversation went like this. AI said evolutionary mismatch between what we what we can consume and what we ought to consume. And I said, well, I don't believe in evolution, as we know, macroevolution. So it said, well, what do you believe in? I said, well, I believe in that we are designed. I said, well, if we are designed, then that has implications for an earlier conversation we had when we spoke about dealing with sugar through taxation. Because at one point, I think there was some discussion. You and I had this discussion in one of our very early videos. We had, not the podcast, we had this discussion about if sugar were discovered today, wouldn't it be treated as a drug? Do you remember?
I don't remember that conversation, but I'm agreeing with you. Yes, it would be treated as a
if
drug.
if we came across sugar today, just for the first time, the health authorities would test it and go, you can't feed people this. It's dangerous, man.
It's dangerous because it's dopamine
addictive
and all that. It's,
and all this, and it's
addictive, highly addictive. Yeah.
So isn't that kind of weird? So I said, well, how do we were now, if you like, want to use the word conversing, and I said, well, taxation then, isn't it? And then the AI said, well, here's the problem with taxation. Taxation would actually disproportionately affect the least wealthy in society because they're the ones most exposed to sugar.
Absolutely.
And then I said, but surely in that case that would incentivize companies to find something else to feed to the well, not destitute exactly, but they're not the
people at the lower end of the
spectrum. Yeah, because right now they don't care because they're making money. But if you taxed it out of reach of poor people, then they'd have to eat something, and whatever that something is, that would be what would be an incentive for food companies to produce.
Well, if they could produce it cheaply enough, this is the problem, because the fact that the food at the bottom end of the pile is very processed, ultra processed, that's what makes it cheap. Because when a food is ultra processed, it's got a massive shelf life as well. You can put it on a shelf and it can stay there weeks or months. I mean, how can certain foods last that long? They shouldn't. They shouldn't. You know, real food has got a short shelf life, but that's what makes it expensive, because you've got to get it from source, either from animals or from, crops. You've got to get it onto the shelf, and then it can only last a short period. So you hope there's churn there and plenty of it. But to maximize profits, if it can sit on a shelf longer, then the company who produces it can profit longer term, because it doesn't worry too much that it's on a supermarket store and it's on the shelf for weeks. Doesn't matter. Customers can still buy it in that time frame. So they're not losing out where food has to keep getting thrown out. This is the problem. That's why fresh produce is so expensive, because it to get it from, wherever it's sourced from, it's a short lifespan. It will go off. It doesn't last long. So it has to get on people's plates really fast. And we've now removed a lot of that, because in the UK in particular, in Brexit, for instance, they used to do a service called JIT, which stood for just-in-time produce, so that we in the UK could get food from Europe brought to us just in time. So it wouldn't go off. It could come from France, Spain, travel through the night and get to our supermarkets literally the following morning. And that was just-in-time processing. So you could get the luxury of fresh produce in the supermarkets. But since Brexit, that's all been removed. We've had to grow our own, which isn't as good as getting it from the hotter climates of Europe. So certain foods have now been removed from the table for British consumers, because we cannot get some foods just in time. So we have to resort to more, in quotes, processed foods, versions of those that have been affected in some way or had something added that no longer make them pure or fresh. They're now processed. Now, I'm not saying all processed food's bad, by the way, because by putting it in a packet, that's processing. But what you're doing is a lot of the companies, they don't just put it in a packet, they add something to it. So they add value to the product. So the consumer goes, oh, well, you know, so-and-so store adds this honey coating to my meat. I like it from there, but the honey coating is the bit that's got the sugar in it. So this is the key. It's when it's in a packet, you've got to be mindful as a consumer. If you want to avoid some of these products, you need to get them in their raw format so that it isn't got the sugar, it hasn't got the additives, it hasn't got the manufactured extra bits that the stores want to add to improve the flavour of the products, but at the same time make it more addictive for us to go back and get more.
Well, the long and short of it is that the political system has been captured by large corporations. I was watching a video yesterday or the day before, and it was talking about the plight of the American farmer. And apparently they're catching it from both ends, because the people who buy their products refuse to pay a lot of money that would actually make them comfortable, and they're forced to buy their seeds and whatnot. These are the crop farmers I'm talking about. They're forced to buy their feeds from companies that have GMO, genetically modified. What does the O stand for? What's the genetically modified anyway, seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that apparently there are only like 6 companies now that have eventually swallowed up all the others. So you don't really have a lot of
choice.
A lot of choice. And the idea that you can't plant a seed because it's illegal if you don't get it from that company, because it's their seed, they own. And it was a Supreme Court decision in the U.S. that said a company can own life, basically, can own DNA. So, fortunately, there are certain countries, the good ones, your friend Russia, and certain others, I think there are 10 or 11 countries in all, which have just outright banned GMO. Just no thank you. China is one of the other 20-something or whatever it is. I can't
Europe
remember the
have
actual
banned
figures.
it. Europe don't have it, but we allow it now.
We allow it now, do we?
Apparently so.
But they allow not for planting, but for feeding.
Okay.
So they allow soybeans, because they eat a lot of soybeans themselves. But the soybeans that they feed to animals, they never intend to plant it, so it's not an issue. They never spread into the environment for planting. You see what I mean?
The problem is, though, with allowing the GMO food stuff to be fed to animals, especially if the animals are in the food chain, we consume them and we consume whatever they've eaten. So there is that other challenge as well. Because have you heard the recent one where this is stupid, but they're doing it in the UK. They are saying that cows are one of the biggest greenhouse gas polluters.
Mm-hmm.
So they've produced this drug for the cows to stop them farting.
No, that's just unnatural, man.
Well, it's reducing the farting, so there's less methane in the atmosphere, or whatever it is they fart, and so the cows are no longer. Well, the idea behind it, this drug, is to stop them farting anywhere near as much as before, so that they don't release greenhouse gases, and in so doing, those cows, however, are in the food chain. And we don't know enough about this product.
You were telling people to eat steaks just not so long ago. So
Yeah.
Poor capital B's eat steaks, and then they feel bloated for some funny reason. For some funny reason, man, nothing is coming out. I don't, ever since I listened to that goddamn TNT schmuck song, and I started, I used to eat biscuits and cakes. Everything was fine, man. Then I heard this guy go, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So I started eating beef. Now I can't fart anymore. What the actual?
Apparently,
Oh, God.
it's supposed to be an effective on the cow while it's alive. It doesn't obviously. This is the claim from the manufacturers.
Does
of
it break
this product.
down though under heat?
Well,
when
we
you cook
don't
it
know.
properly?
We don't know.
And what about
That's
the people who
point.
eat it rare?
Well,
Not that you should be eating steak rare, to be honest, but
well, it doesn't matter. Some people.
no, it does. It's rare. It's not cooked. This is the whole idea. Cook it.
Some people eat it like that.
Ugh,
But anyway, the point is that hasn't actually gone through. Hasn't been approved yet.
Oh,
So
good.
It's not in the food chain yet. They're still discussing whether they want to allow it. So they're still toing and fro.
Is this in the UK?
In the UK.
Well, they're going to allow it because
Well,
the UK seems to allow everything in the end. I don't know what the hell, man.
At the moment, because we're not bound by the EU rules, we have succumbed a little bit. And also part of the deal-making process, which is what we spoke about this on an earlier show, about Nigel Farage, if he ever gets into power.
Yeah.
They want to reduce our food laws and the guidelines so that we are no longer aligned with the EU with our food guidelines, but they lower the standard.
Well, that's the funny thing. We wanted Brexit so that we would go our own way and have our own standards, which many of us were hoping would be better standards.
No, they're worse.
Yeah, I know.
The point is, those standards are lowered to allow the American consumers to come into our market and
Which we don't
offer
need.
us cheap produce. And the whole carrot, if I can use that term in this show, is that they're dangling, it'll be cheap food. We'll be able to save on our weekly bills.
Rubbish.
And a lot of people will see that as a benefit and go, oh yeah, I want to save on my weekly bills. But you're getting food that I touched on at the start of the show that isn't food.
And
It's
not only that,
manufactured gunk
Not
just
only-
to feed people.
not only that, there's a problem when they don't want labeling.
Oh yes.
So why don't you want labeling? If everything is hunky dory, if everything is above board, why don't you want it labeled so that we can tell?
Indeed. That's
so-
part of the reason they don't want to do it.
GMO.
But, yeah. They
GMO
don't want a
stands for-
GMO labelled because the consumers would not buy it. That's
Of
their
course not.
fear.
No.
Yeah, which is all right. But you don't hide it, and they're gonna hide it, and the UK will succumb at some point, I
The
think.
usual.
is
GMO stands for genetically modified organism.
That doesn't even sound right, does it? It sounds awful.
Doesn't
it?
Well, so
Oh yeah, I
unfortunately-
must stress something very quickly. There's a guy, like I said, called Ancel Keys,
Yes.
and yeah, Ancel Keys. He did a 7-country study. This is part of the proof in quotes that he used as evidence to show that fat was bad. So he picked 7 countries study. There was actually 22 countries in the study, but he picked 7 out of the 22. He
Cherry-picked.
conveniently left France and Germany out of the list, because if he'd included them, because they ate a lot of fat, but they didn't have the high heart disease issues. Because they didn't eat much sugar, they had a lot of fat, but he was trying to correlate that all these countries that have fat have got high, disease, so it must be the fat. But in reality, France and Germany were eating very fatty diets, but they had very low heart disease levels, and he excluded those because it didn't match up with his theory. And so, had he included them, maybe it would have. Well, he didn't. He used it to bias the opinion of the people in high places who made the decision, and he was the one that provided the data. So the Food and Agriculture Organization had provided 22 countries for the study, but he used a smaller study of 7 to make his point.
Yeah.
And he fooled the people in power. So, you know, this is all where money is. When money's involved to give a certain directive, people bend the truth. They leave out key information. They do it surely to line their pockets and sod the humans who have to buy the stuff. Who cares? We'll throw them over the fence. The pharmaceutical industry have got loads of people. They'll look after them and give them the drugs they need to keep them going. But we fed them the rubbish, made them fat, and made them basically be ill for life. Because a managed diabetic, for instance, who's a type 2, is a customer for life, aren't they?
Well,
Yeah, and that's scary where it's the food that causes it. And it's horrible. The food industry creates the patients and the pharmaceutical industry manages the symptoms of those patients. So the two sectors are working together to keep everybody ill so that they can all benefit. So everyone was poo-pooing the pharmaceutical industry. Oh, well, they're not fixing us. All they're doing is managing the symptoms. Yeah, that's all they do. They can't fix us because the food industry, with the poor food that they provide, are the ones who are damaging us, and we are falling for it, hook, line and sinker. Good advertising, delicious products that taste so good, artificial. I mean, you spoke about it at the start of the show, Tayo, about the chocolate. Oh, once in a while. But it's a seduction technique. They seduce us with their produce.
Well,
and
so
that's
the pretty women, by the way. So.
Well, and that
You know,
product, yeah,
would
that
you
product.
like to live in a world without pretty women?
Wow.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, if you weren't married, you'd be like, yeah, that would not. Because you're married, you're like, yeah. Yeah, you know. But in your mind, you've gone back to the good old days. Right? It still boils down to what the Buddha said. Do you remember the Buddha's middle way?
No,
The
I don't
middle
know.
way. Not too much on one side, to the left, not too much to the right, not too much up, not too much down. It's the middle way.
Indeed.
Balance.
Indeed. It's moderation.
Moderation.
But
there we
moderation,
go.
what does that mean? It's not. It has to be quantified. What does moderation mean? 'Cause
Well, we're
one
going to
person's
find out
moderation-
next year, knock on wood, if we're both still here next year, we're going to find out sometime in April that I've completed my 3 months. And if your 11-day program works, we'll know about it.
Okay. I wish you well on that program. Right, we've actually got to the end of the show. Do you want to sum up then? Do you think this is a cover-up, the sugar cover-up? Has there been some underhand stuff going on to allow the food industry and, to a degree, the pharmaceutical industry to profit at our expense?
Well, it was a tough show to do without sugar in my bloodstream, but yeah, it's certainly. If I had known how tough it was going to be, I'd have had a biscuit or two. Anyway, it's without. There's no. We said conspiracy theory, but in this case, there is no conspiracy theory. We know it's to be true. It's not a conspiracy. It's true.
I think it's so ingrained now. There's just nothing we can do about it, and we have to take personal responsibility and try and limit our consumption of sugar as much as we can ourselves, because the industry, government, the health services are not going to do it for us. We have to do it ourselves. Right, if you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexplained twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo, and we are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately we have reached the end of the show for another week.
Bye-bye.